Gonna eat that food.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. We have a quorum. Everyone is here. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Ms. Burns has made a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Mr. Spivey has seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, and that's unanimous. And Mr. McPherson, do you have a closed session motion that we can have?
I do. Proposed closed session motion is I move the board that they enter into closed session subject to the advice from the attorney pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318, A1 and A6 to prevent the disclosure of confidential personnel information under General Statute 115C-319 and to consider matters related to personnel matters. The board will also enter into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A3 to consult with the board's attorney in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege, to consider confidential student matters as provided in North Carolina General Statute 143-318A1 and the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act 20 U.S.C. 123G and North Carolina General Statute 115C 402.
All right, would someone like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Hanson has made the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Reeves seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And that is unanimous. So we're in closed session. Thank you. All right, we're returning from closed session. Can I have a motion to come out of closed session and back into open?
I make the motion, we come out of closed session and go back into open session.
All right, Mr. Spivey has made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Hanson has seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Do we have a motion to approve the HR report?
I'll make a motion to approve the HR report.
Ms. Burns has made a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
All right, we have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And that is unanimous. So we are now back in open session, and next item is the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone would please rise. Mr. Spivey, would you lead us in the pledge?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Garner Akins, would you do our invocation, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman Hall, Board, Dr. Breedlove, Cabinet, and welcome visitors. If you would, let's bow as we open up in prayer. Our most kind, gracious, and Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. And Lord, we just thank you for the people that are gathered here. We thank you, dear Lord, for Lord, the work that's being done already in preparation for another fast approaching year. And Heavenly Father, we just ask that you'll be with everyone making decisions today. We just pray that you'll give them wisdom and clarity of mind to continue to be good stewards, Lord, of the constituents of this county, but most importantly of the students that we serve. We pray for safety, we pray for wisdom, and we pray for guidance. But most importantly, Lord, we just pray in all things that we will continue to understand and reflect the call that's been laid on every one of us. We thank you and love you, and we ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Akins, do y'all have anything going on at Pender High you want to tell us about while you're here at all?
The progress of the bathrooms is wide open, and we encourage anybody that has opportunity to come. It's amazing to see the hard work and effort, and we're very excited, but we're extremely thankful, and we know that it's going to be a great talking point for years to come. So thank you so much for that.
All right. Item 8, or item 7, recognitions. We don't have any this month, so item 8, public comments. Mr. McPherson, would you read our public comment statement? And I think we have one sign up.
Yes, sir.
Correct? All right.
The Pender County Board of Education welcomes the opportunity to hear from the public during its regularly scheduled meetings. The public comment period is open for all members of the community, including parents and students, to express compliments, concerns, or complaints regarding the performance of school personnel, the implementation of board policy, the quality of the educational program, or school facilities. In accordance with Policy 2310, presentations are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. Obscene, vulgar, or profane statements, and statements reasonably perceived to be disruptive or imminently threatening to the orderly operation of the meeting will not be permitted. Our first and only sign-up is Mr. Tim Zizak.
And welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for that pronunciation of my name. My name is Tim Zizak. Live at 1203 Ocean Boulevard, Topsail Beach. First of all, I'd like to state that we have the best Board of Education in the state of North Carolina. Second, we have the best staff. Thank you. I'd like to discuss budget topics. The budget request presented to the board retreat, specific and supported with information. The first request was to maintain current standards. The second was to exceed those standards. The Board of Commissioners approved less funding to maintain the minimum standards. The special meeting, which I attended on June 24th, repeated the same information. The Board of Commissioners approved to fund the current standards. This meeting publicly defined the two boards' priorities and goals, in my opinion. The Board of Commissioners should have funded the maximum funds requested, in my opinion. Now you have decreased funding from the state. This validates that there is a need for additional funding. I have some ideas. the joint meeting of the Board of Commissioners, the board suggested that you return with any additional financial needs. I would like to ask you to make that request. And I think there are two funding sources that you could address. The first one, I think you're all aware of, is the reserve fund. It was $61 million before they gave $11 million to the EMS fire fund. The $50 million in reserve is a policy that they have, and their policy only requires them to carry $30 million. They have an extra $20 million of our tax dollars. The second suggestion is sales tax increase. And if you're aware of sales tax, they have to be earmarked, and an increase is required to be on the ballot to vote by the taxpayers. This is a fund that increases with population growth. State shares the numbers from 216, so you could look at the increases. This is a state statute requirement. Currently, we're at 6.75% with a 2.5% share for Pender County. That 2.5 generates over $20 million annually, and it's increasing. It's the second highest revenue source behind property taxes for the county. I would like the Board of Commissioners to add a 0.25 sales tax increase on the ballot. My personal earmark suggestion would be for teachers' pay. The annual increase will benefit current and future salary increases. My suggestion, I know your financial staff can find best use for these funds. I calculate $750,000
Mr. Zizak?
with a $250,000 increase. Could I summarize, please?
Is that,
I have a,
do we,
There's
can we do that?
16,000
Hold on a second before you do it. Can we,
Generally, we don't extend the 3 minutes unless the board wants to permit as a whole. And that's the fear I have for you, board, is if you allow.
That's a slippery slope. I don't,
I concur.
yeah, we're not doing that.
because of the 3 minutes from,
I need 30 seconds.
I vote to give him 30 seconds. This is important. This is money that we need.
And I understand, and I agree with what he's saying by all means, but that's something we could speak about individually after the meeting. But if we do it for him, we gotta do it for every other individual that steps up here and says, I want more than 3 minutes.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Kim. Appreciate that.
And that was a quarter of a penny, right? Is that what you were saying?
Yes.
What-
0.25%.
2 point, yeah. What is New Hanover County?
So,
So we'd be equal then.
all adjacent counties are 7%.
That'd be 750,000?
First year, growth trend of $1 million for 20 years.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for coming all the way from Topsail Beach.
Thanks for having me.
I understand.
all right, Dr. Breedlove.
Hey, good evening, Board. August the 4th, this is back to school month for Pender County Schools. Pender, as you know, Pender Lee has been in session now a couple of weeks, and today was first day of classes out at Pender Early College, and stopped in there along with other members of our team, and students were happy to be back in school. Lots of hugs of classmates, but they got after it. First day of school already there. So our traditional calendar schools, they will start back in 3 weeks, Monday, August 24th. And as always, I do have a reminder to our community to be patient for those first couple of weeks as we make adjustments to our transportation system. Everyone gets into a routine. But most importantly, be patient and look out for students who may be standing at the bus stop in those early mornings or later on in the day when we have other students being dropped off at the end of the day. But between now and then, we are putting our final touches on our buildings. You heard Mr. Akins talking about Pender High. There's been a lot of work happening over the summer to get ready for the start of the school year, and that will continue over the next 3 weeks. We do have several upcoming professional development opportunities for teachers and staff, starting with our new teacher orientation, either those that are new to Pender County or those who are just new to teaching in general. I'm looking forward to meeting all of these individuals, and this orientation for our beginning teachers will be on August 10th through the 12th at Cape Fear Elementary in their auditorium. We do have the first optional teacher workday, and that will begin on Thursday, August the 13th, 2026. August 18th, we do have our district convocation. I believe, board members, you have received an invite to that. That's at Heidi Trask High School. Doors open around 7:45, and it begins at 8:30. I'll open it up. Just welcoming everybody, and I do have a presentation, but we do have a guest speaker that day. Her name is Leah Marone, and she's a psychotherapist, speaker, author. She wrote a book called Serial Fixer, and it should be a good one for everyone that attends. Another PD opportunity I want to discuss very quickly is CPI training for staff for de-escalation of situations. Currently, we have 239 trained staff. Our school system is offering 5 trainings this year to increase that number. Currently signed up for the first training here in the next couple of weeks. We have 51 administrators, teachers, and staff signed up already for that. Like I said, there will be 4 more throughout the year that we'll have. Every school does have a trained crisis intervention team at the school, and we will continue making these trainings available throughout the year to increase the number of trained staff. Another outreach effort, as you all know, that we support Pender County is through our summer feeding program, and we have seen much success this summer in serving Pender County schools families. Last year, we served just under 100,000 meals, and this year, we have distributed 155,824 meals, and we still have 2 weeks to go. We have tomorrow and then August 12th from 12:30 to 2 on each one of those days. Those sites are South Topsail, South Topsail Elementary, C.F. Pope Elementary, Malpas Corner Elementary, Rocky Point Elementary, and we have 2 non-school sites, and those are at the Atkinson Town Hall and Maple Hill Presbyterian Church. It is expected after the next 2 weeks that we will be pushing probably over 185,000 meals in Pender County. And so when we talk about Pender County School and our staff, and congratulations to all of our team of Aramark and Pender County School staff and volunteers, that's a big impact on our community. And I just wanted you all to know how proud we are of the work of Pender County Schools and Aramark and all of the volunteers. Also, upcoming open houses, August 19th, we have middle school open houses that evening. August 20th are our elementary and high schools, as well as kindergarten orientation. And then the last 2 things I have are just our upcoming board meetings. Tuesday, August 25th, Committee of the Whole, and then we have the September board meeting, and you'll all vote on that this evening. We'll push that out. Thank you.
What time are the meals available tomorrow?
And tomorrow's from 12:30 to 2 at each one of those sites. Thank you all, and that concludes Superintendent's report. Thank you.
Item 10.1.
Good evening, Board. I hope you're doing well tonight. As I shared at the Cal meeting, we selected ITRI to help us through the redistricting process as we think about opening up J.H. Lee, and they are here tonight to go through a presentation with you, interactive presentation. So I'd like to invite Thomas Dudley and his team up here from ITRI.
Chair Hall, other members of the board, it's a pleasure to be joining you all this evening. My name is Thomas Dudley, and I'm joined by my colleague, Dr. Lyndon Thayer. We're school planners with ITRI, and this evening we're going to dive right into it by reintroducing ourselves and our organization. From then, we'll be discussing and revisiting the membership forecast that you all have seen previously that helps set the stage for the next part of the conversation, which is looking at community engagement and how essential that is as we look at reassignment and redistricting. Now, our parent organization is called ITRI, the Institute for Transportation Research and Education. We're part of NC State University and housed on NC State Centennial Campus in Raleigh. My smaller group is called ORED, the Operations Research and Education Laboratory. In short, we're an unbiased third-party evaluation research group that helps depoliticize school planning in this state. Also represented is the school camp team. School camp is related to comprehensive community and school aligned master planning, and they're able to do that through the services that you see listed there in bold. And with our two groups together, we've had the privilege of working with quite a few districts over the history of these programs. Zooming all the way into Pender County here, what we've learned over the time that we've been doing this work, collectively as a group, several decades, is the importance of looking at residential development when it comes to enrollment forecasting. So as part of our process and what we've gone through so far, and this you've seen before so far, what we've seen is identifying 63 residential developments that'll help shape the future of what this district looks like in terms of new students. So that corresponds to over 12,000 additional units and lots coming online in the future. So in short, expect continued growth. Now moving on, and to make that a little bit more tangible, moving on to the next slide here, you can see the dotted line is the most recent available data, but here we have broken out by level, looking forward over the next 10 years, what your enrollment is projected to do. We see growth at all levels, led by elementary as well, very congruent with understanding young families moving into the district and that shaping the district. So to present this at a higher degree of detail, we also have our out of capacity table, the quick visual way of being able to see where your facility needs are and where they will be in the future. Working our way from left to right, you can see the name of each of your schools, the capacity is provided by the district, the membership as of last year, and then each column out to the right is the forecasted membership of how many students to expect at each of these schools over time. Now that coloring, that background coloring, is simply based on utilization. So that just means how full is that school? What's the number of students in that cell divided by the capacity of that school? So when you see a red, that indicates an overcrowded school for that year. That sets the context. What we're talking about is continued enrollment growth. More is coming, and accordingly with that, there's a need for more new schools. And as part of new schools comes the conversation of redistricting. And this evening, we're here to outline the process and to ensure that community engagement and involvement is part of the process. Now, to talk through what that looks like, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Dr. Thayer.
Thank you, Thomas. And thank you all for having us tonight. All right, so as Thomas said, both the board here in Pender and the staff have already identified that clearly each of those colored boxes, whether it's green, yellow, red, or whatever other color, represents real kids and real families. And so what you've identified is that in order to do this well and in order to bring your community along with you as you make decisions around new schools, new boundaries, new zoning, you need to bring the community with you. And when we think about doing engagement, we're talking about looking at root causes and root challenges, priorities that are most important to this district, right? What's important out in the West may not be the same as what's important here. Do you care most about how long kids are on a bus, or do you care most about students being able to maintain a clear feeder pattern all the way through? There are so many choices, so many ways that we can do this work, and it's important to understand what's important here in this community. Here at school camp, we think about sort of 4 big buckets of community engagement. One of those groups, one of those key stakeholders is you all here, the board. Another group is school leadership. All of the principals are going to be your frontline folks who get all of the questions about Why is this happening? What is happening? Is my kid going to end up in this school or that school? So we like to provide a lot of support for those principals through training on change management, on getting them up to speed, giving them first look, so that they have as much information as possible to be able to share out to your community, both accurate and supportive information. The third group we think about is what we call a community advisory board. And this looks a million different ways. It's different in every community. But the idea is that we want to give space for a representative group of folks, usually 20 to 30, to come together and help guide our work. Because again, we know how to do community engagement, but not in this particular space. So we suggest bringing together representatives from your town leadership, from county leadership, from businesses, from families, a few teachers, sometimes students. And they're gonna sit in this community advisory team with us and help lead the conversation about how we do this work. So we're gonna ask them things like, how should we show up in community? And should it be at a high school on a Tuesday night, or should it be on a Saturday morning out at a church? So we have all those kinds of conversations with them. And then we think about that last group, the broader community, and bringing them all together in a variety of ways, both in person and perhaps digitally as well. And we really just have a lovely arc that we think about. We're going to think about priorities and values up front, and we're going to get to solutions based on what we hear in that early stage. This is small up here, but I'll walk through some of our suggested approaches. And again, this is all suggested and to be refined based on what you think is best here. We're here tonight talking to you all, the board. And then we like to start almost right away with a priorities assessment of you all, so that each of you can provide anonymously your thoughts and feelings about what's most important here. And we have a standard approach that we use, and then it's tailored based on your needs. So we'll collect that information, and then pretty soon we'll get up close and personal with your public information officer, because they're going to help do a lot of the communication on the ground here. We'll rely on them to help us navigate. Does it need to be a phone call? Does it need to be an email? Does it need to go on a website? That kind of thing. We'll move into that community advisory board, form that as quickly as we can here toward the end of August perhaps, and have our first meeting so that they can help us lay the groundwork for everything going forward. We hope to meet with school leadership come September, maybe earlier, but probably September. And then after that, we'll do an assessment with community, a digital assessment, multiple languages as needed. And then we'll have our first community engagements in that September-October timeline, in which we are showing up in person and we are asking, what are your priorities and values? And we hold space for all of it, because passion is fabulous. And sometimes passion needs to have a little bit more information and a little bit of redirection, but we are here to hold all of it. And so we do record everything, and we make sure that we reflect back to community everything we heard. And even if it doesn't change your decision at the end of the day, we'll explain the why. Why did your comment about school nurses not impact how we read you the boundaries? And we'll do that for everything we hear so that everyone feels heard. Once we've done that first round of engagement, talking about priorities and values, we'll come back to you all, the board, and update you and say, here is what we've heard. And let you ask questions and engage with that content. And then we go back to the lab, and Thomas and his team take all the information we've heard from community and apply it to what they're doing around boundaries. Again, if you cared most about distance traveled in a bus, that's going to impact how we draw those lines. We'll bring the initial solutions back to you all for a review at first look. We'll bring it next to the community advisory board and get their their insights into both the content, what do they think about the solutions offered, but also how to present it to the community. We'll do the same for school leadership, and then bring it to the broader community again in a couple of ways. Might be one night, Tuesday night at a high school, and another time in a different part of the county on a Saturday morning. Once we've heard reflections from each of these stakeholder groups on presented solutions, we actually go back to the lab again and make adjustments. If we need to, change tacks a little bit, and yes, busing was most important, but also this other thing, we'll make those minor adjustments and then bring back final solutions to you all by December, we hope. And then provide that final report in January so that you all are ready and prepared to make decisions for the coming school year. And I believe with that, I might invite Thomas back, but we're happy to answer any questions that you all have for us.
that was pretty comprehensive. I think that you pretty much you've laid out a plan that we can definitely work with, and I like the fact that it is going to happen quickly, because before we know it, Christmas is gonna be here, and we need to have some plans laid out, or at least really into the process before then, so, no, thank you. I like it, I like what I saw.
It was easy to follow and easy to understand. Thank you.
We like to be clear.
And whenever you guys are ready to get together and ask the questions, I noticed one of the first things you were gonna do was talk to the board and try to get our feedback and everything, and whenever you guys are ready, I think we are too. We're ready to start the process.
100%. I think more faster we can get it rolling, the sooner we can let our public know what to
Agreed.
expect for the next fall.
So that, and just to outline some of the specifics there too, that board assessment that begins sort of starts the process rolling. You can expect an email on that shortly. And
Good.
go from there.
Okay. Well, that's what I like. It sounds like we're full steam ahead. Very
Thank you.
good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, item 10.2, Dr. Grimm and Mr. Tommy Batson.
Good evening, Chairman, Board, Superintendent. Tonight, I'm bringing you an update on a project that's been over the last couple of years. The C.F. Pope Elementary School Emergency Shelter Generator Project. For decades, Burgall Middle School was used as a county's primary shelter for many years to come. This shelter required 2 generators. We would deploy a generator to the cafeteria as well as the old 6th grade wing as I knew it many years ago, and we would move that equipment and set it up for every event. Well, following Hurricane Florence, after we had some significant flooding issues at Burgall Middle School, we moved it to Burgall Elementary School. And after the relocation in 2021, Pender County Emergency Management, County Facilities, Representative Carson Smith partnered together, and we replaced our fleet of 4 generators that are deployed to all your schools for the event. These original generators were purchased in 1996 prior to Hurricane Fran, so we're almost 30 years ago. And through that, C.F. Pope Elementary received a 250 kW generator. That 250 kW generator could not run the entire wing at Burgall Elementary, the new wing. And we knew that was a problem, and it caused significant problems for us. So that generator would have to be moved. We'd reach out to Glenn. I'll have Glenn come up here. Glenn and our electrician would have to come set that up. When the storm hits, we'd have to go manually crank the generator and manually do the transfer switch. And I think we partnered with y'all with the transfer switch a few years later. So and I talked about how it failed. So in early spring of 2024, I reached out to the superintendent, I reached out to Glenn. We had a little idea in the office of EM. We're tired of the power failures. We're tired of having to move a generator. We're tired of having to have people hook it up, keep it track. So EM staff applied for the 2023 Emergency Management Capacity Building Competitive Grant. So this grant was open to anybody in North Carolina. And the grant would provide funding to help communities build emergency capabilities, address operational gaps, best practices, enable counties could apply up to $500,000. So I reached out to the school system, I reached out to Glenn, and we had a little chit chat. And we recognized we needed a permanent generator for Burgall Elementary, or C.F. Pope Elementary, as we know it now. So we submitted a grant for $450,000 to include a permanently mounted emergency generator, automatic transfer switch, 2 concrete pads, the fuel system, all the permits, and all the associated costs. It was a shot that we didn't know we'd get. So a little bit later in fall of 2024, North Carolina Emergency Manager awarded us $416,803. Emergency management staff worked closely with the county school system, and Mr. Glenn sitting in the back corner very closely of planning this process and how we would meet the date set by the state. In spring of 25, a construction contract was awarded to Atlantic Power Solutions out here in North Carolina. Then the engineering and design phase We met on site many times to look at the design, look at the process, what was best for the school, and what would best support our community. Due to a 16-month manufacturing lead time on the automatic transfer switch, this plan would not meet the extended deadline of December of 2025. Staff, working with Glenn and the school system, applied to the state for an extension. So we got a 6-month extension to be completed in June of 2026. In the end of May of 2026, we got a phone call from Atlantic Power Solutions. The transfer switch was done and the process was started. So in the middle of June of 2026, during all the lunch deliveries, we mounted and installed a concrete pad for the transfer switch, a concrete pad for the generator, a 500 kW generator, and 2,000 gallons of fuel was installed. This was all tested and worked successfully and was completed by the end of June of 2026. The completed project now provides CF Pope Elementary with a fully automated emergency backup power system that operates 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. In the event of a power outage, the automatic generator starts and transfers electrical load without manual intervention, ensuring uninterrupted operations for that school, for both the school operations and children operations. This project represents a successful partnership between Pender County government, Pender County Emergency Management, Pender County Schools, Pender County Facilities, the Board of Commissioners, the Board of Education, and the North Carolina Department of Emergency Management. But I just wanted to bring y'all an update of what went on, what happened, the timeline, and is in our plan to continue this with the Malpas Corner School in the future when the grant system opens again. So just wanted to give y'all an update of where some of our grant funds have gone, what we've done, and Glenn sits back there in the corner, but if I call him at 2 in the morning and say, Glenn, I got a problem, he helps us out, and Glenn was there every step of the way. I'd call Glenn and say, Glenn, I can't make a meeting. I've got contractors on the way. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And with the partnership, it was completed by June of this year. Any questions? Do what?
What fuel was that thing running?
It is a diesel.
Really?
So one of the reasons why your 911 center, your sheriff's office, your emergency operations centers, and our generators at schools are diesel, it's more fuel efficiency. But if we ever get hit with a major storm and we uproot trees or have an earthquake, our natural gas lines are not reliable. Most people have natural gas here in the town of Burgaw, but we had to choose to go to a diesel generator. And plus, you have a little storage facility with diesel. You have a way to transport it. We have a facility with some diesel, and diesel's easier to get. And propane, depending on what the situation is, we may not be able to get a propane delivery truck. You're correct, but that's why we went diesel.
Very nice.
Mr.
Questions?
Batson, just cannot say thank you enough for all your efforts on this. And you're right, it did take a team to bring it to fruition, but you certainly started that off, and we do appreciate it.
But thank you. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We're in the heart of hurricane season soon, right?
Yes,
What
we're in the
are-
middle.
Right, what are the shelters in Pender County schools that?
So currently,
Yes.
Topsail Annandale Elementary, Cape Fear Elementary Middle, which is our pet-friendly shelter, Burgaw Elementary, and Malpas Corner Elementary. And we have generators on site, with the exception of not having to move one to Burgaw or CF Pope anymore. We have generators ready to go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with the cables to be deployed to that school in the event of a shelter operation.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank y'all. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Right.
And thanks, Glenn. I know he doesn't get the credit, but he's the brains behind everything. We just pushed a pin and pushed the state for it.
And I say also that, to help with Tommy Baxton, he also, when they done their upgrades for the county, they donated 4 generators to Pender County. So we have extra, standby generators that we can carry in case one of Tommy's fails. We've got one to back it up. So we're covered.
Perfect.
Amazing.
Good job.
Right. Dr. Taylor, hurricane preparedness.
I told Tommy that I might call him up here, because he's the one we call when a hurricane starts coming our way. So feel free to come up, Mr. Batson. No, all joking aside, every year when we welcome families and students and every teachers and staff back, we always keep an eye on the tropics too. And, you know, we have a very robust plan that we work through. A lot of it is in partnership with emergency services in Pender County. Tommy's a big part of that. And we receive information from Tommy and from the National Weather Service out of Surf City, and we follow that. So on the attachment within the document there, I tried to break it down into kind of emergency management for weather forecasting and communication. And this is, you know, I'm up here presenting this, but this is no single person in this room is not part of this plan. So, you know, Bob takes care of the communication. You know, when we get into emergency shelters, that's EMS. Our principals man the shelters typically. You know, I've manned them before. Several other principals have also done that. Melissa Wilson has manned them. I think she spent about a month at Topsail Annandale during Florence, and I think I spent about 2.5 weeks at Pender. So not something we want to do, obviously, but you know, our efforts before and during the storm are to protect our student, staff, members, everybody in the community as much as we can, provide the shelters that we have open. And Tommy, I know that you didn't mention Pender High School, but that was the one I was at for like 2.5 weeks. So that's a backup, I suppose, at this point, right? The physical plant, we do utilize a lot of technology when we prepare for a storm that may be coming our way. We instruct our principals, our custodians, our staff of the school to take before and after pictures of the facility itself. We also prepared facilities for wind and rain and all the other elements that come in. It's all part of the plan. Pulling in trash cans, taking signs down out of the athletic facilities, things of that nature are always part of that. And then we brace for the storm, in constant contact with our families. At some point, we may have to go with remote instruction. And of course, Dr. Grimm and his team are involved in making sure the facilities are up and running. They help support the shelters if we use them. And of course, Tommy and his crew from emergency services do that as well. Remote instruction, we want to continue instruction as much as we can through a catastrophe like a hurricane. There are some instances where, just like we have a major snow, we had one last year. The board and Dr. Breedlove and our team decided to give the kids kind of a day where they could honestly play in the snow. I'm not saying we're going to play in a hurricane, but sometimes you have to take that benefit of let's assess all the damages before we roll out remote instruction. Long-term closures, sometimes those happen. We do our best with that. That's when really the digital remote instruction comes into play. You know, we try not to do that as much as we possibly can, but sometimes it necessitates that. Community members and employees that were here during Florence recognize that as a major obstacle. And then recovery and reopening. During those after the storm, it's not only about feeding families and feeding students, about educating students, but it's about reaching out to them and ensuring that they're okay. A lot of home visits, a lot of phone calls made home, check-ins, things of that nature. Part of the remote instruction plan, if we have digital access, is for teachers to check in with those children. That is a major component of that. So a wellness check, if you would, for all students that are online. And then recovery and reopening. I mentioned we take pictures of everything that we possibly can before the storm arrives. We compare those pictures for insurance purposes, submit all the stuff to FEMA eventually down the road. We work with federal and state agencies to make sure that happens on a timely basis. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we do. We hope we never have to implement it, but sometimes we do, and we want the community to know that we're prepared to do so if it does happen. Happy to take questions or direct them to other people from the departments that are involved, if you have any.
Just appreciate the plan.
Yeah, sure. Cross your fingers, we don't have to use it.
Thank you.
All right.
10.4, MVP monthly update, Dr. Grimm.
Yes, hello again. I'm going to invite Joe Murphy up to share information. We only have 2 change orders, so this should be pretty quick. So, Joe?
Good evening, Chairman Hall, board members, Dr. Breedlove. Let's see, we've got our dashboard up so we can take a peek at how things are looking. Right now, we've got very few open RFIs, only about 4 RFIs and about 5 submittals in review. That's typical about this point in the project. You've pretty much answered all the big questions and you're getting down to the fine details. Our schedule milestones, we're looking at July 26th of 2027 for final completion. Our next one that's coming along is actually going to be the first part of 2027 in January. That's when we should achieve conditioned air. So the temporary HVAC that we talked about last week gets us to that point. Test and balance will start happening in February, and then substantial completion will be in May of 2027. Okay. Next slide. Current pay app that we have, we didn't have it up here last week. The current pay app we have is for pay app number 25. That pay app is for $5.46 million on a total earned of $87.23 million. Contract sum is $129.38, and that has the contract standing at 69% completion financially. It's actually a little further than that if you look at it in the field and on the schedule, but financially it's 69%. Very good. Current PCOs outstanding. Number 29 is for change to the sewer piping material due to material availability. This happens a lot of times when material availability won't let you use the pipe that was initially spec'd, so you ask for permission to use something else, and that's what happened here. And they were able to switch to DR18 instead of DR14, and that was proposed as a substitution. It's just slightly thinner wall, but it's on a sanitary sewer line, which is not high pressure anyway. So it was fine with the design team, fine with the contractor, and nobody at the school had a problem with it, and that resulted in a credit of $9,604 going back to the owner contingency. No additional cost to the contract. Proposal number 130 is to move one set of bleachers to the opposite side of the football soccer field, as well as to add some concrete walkways and provide access to the opposite side of the field. Fence revisions to incorporate these changes are included as well. The owner contingency will be utilized for this change in the amount of $45,816, and that is no additional cost to the contract. That's all coming from the contingency. So those are the only 2 proposals that we have for approval. Any questions on those? Okay, we move forward to number 3. This shows our soft cost log. We're trying to keep track of all of these activities. Right now, out of $9,257,000, we have issued $5,856,000, and amount remaining is $3,400,000. So that shows up over here in the 9.26, the yellow part, along with the 129.38. That's your full GMP contract. Still has the total of this budget at 142.2, but that has 3.57 million additional funds available there within that number that you allocated for this contract that has yet to be used. I'm recommending that you hold on to that tight while they're doing their soft cost purchases and getting the school open, so that they have funds to rely on if they need it. On the bond distribution summary, we're still sitting at the $142.21 million for the JH Lease School, which is this number here. You see there in the bond number, and that leaves $34.79 million remaining in the bond. hopefully for use on the topsail. Okay. Any questions on that?
So we're looking good.
We're looking good. Yeah. Next slide. Just shows a few shots of the ongoing progress. You can see that the finishes are going in, ceilings are going in, walls are getting painted. All the work on the inside is taking shape. Okay. All right, then that's all we've got for this time. Any questions on any of that? All right, I certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. That brings us to our consent agenda, which has got several items on it. I'm going to go, before we vote on the whole list, I'm going to go down each one and see if anyone has any questions. So 11.1 is board minutes. I assume everybody is okay with that. 11.2 is attorney expenses, probably the same thing. Number 11.3, fuel and electric expenses. Does anyone have any questions on it? All right. 11.4, board financial report. Everybody good with that?
Actually. Oh, Miss Nowlin. Where is Miss Nowlin? I do. There she is. Previously, Dr. Breedlove, we had I asked you a question, and we thought it would be good to bring that question up again and let Miss Nowlin address it. For a long time, we have been signing off on classroom size waivers, and obviously, when you put more kids in a classroom, you don't get that many. You reduce your amount of teachers, but we were doing it because of space considerations. And I was wondering, with the new school coming on board and everything, how does that equate to how much the state gives us for the teachers now that we'll have a little bit more room to expand?
If I can I ask Kevin to answer that? Because we have, Kevin and Melissa Wilson and myself have been working all together to do the classroom allotment. So HR's kind of picked up that piece of that. So we kind of work together to address it.
Yeah, Mr. Lawson, we've been working on that presentation for a couple of weeks now. Can you pull up slide 4 on that? Perfect, yeah. So just to kind of give you an idea, state allocations, that one, yep. Allocations for positions, there are several different ways to get to that point. But for O1 positions, the district ADM is what funds those positions. Therefore, when the district gets those number of positions, we have to allocate those to every school based on the number of students in those classes, number of students in that grade span. So if you'll look, people always tell me I talk too softly. If you look here, this is an actual school. I just took the name off of it, and this is another actual school, again, taking the name off. We are projecting the kindergarten class in this school, not one class, but the entire population of kindergarten students to be 70. Based on the class size of 21, which we try to maintain in our schools, the average for that class size needs to be a little bit lower across the district. But when you have 3.33 teachers is what we would allocate to that school, right? I don't know any 3.3 teachers. They don't exist. I haven't found them yet. Not at any location that I've handed out business cards. So we end up with 4 teachers in that school. Does that make sense? 3.68 is the same way. That's another added teacher. 3.5, another added teacher. 3.4, you see where I'm going with this. So when the state allocates us O1 positions, we have to then divide them up among all the schools. So you ask, where does that money come from? If we're not paying them out of O1 positions, it comes out of other funds. There are some funds that are monetarily based that come from the state. Those funds have been cut tremendously over the past several years. Ms. Lown, you want to take that one?
They've been cut, and they're also, one is low wealth, which is dependent on the county effort, and the tax rate. Very complicated calculation, but it's very volatile. So you could have it one year and then not have it at all. And it's to the tune of, I mean, we've took a 65% reduction over a 3 or 4 year period, and then we're just now starting to climb back up. But it's just volatile. So you could go from a $3 million allotment one year to a $1 million. And we've had some school systems actually fall out of the running for it altogether. So they went from 3 million to nothing. So they did put a new law in place that is going to hold districts harmless for 2 years, basically, the year you're in and the next year, to kind of level that playing field. But it still becomes a volatile allotment because it is dependent on what every North Carolina county charges in property taxes, and when they have their reeval, because it uses the state average tax rate. So that's one area. So you can never depend on that to fund primarily teachers and bet on that money coming in every year. We have some at-risk funding, which basically works based on the tier of your county. I shouldn't say tier, but on the disadvantaged students, which means your SNAP, your Medicaid, the high needs areas and populations. So, with that being said, we've had numerous rules over the past few years which have changed those regulations, which cause children and families to not qualify. So then that becomes a volatile thing that you really don't know what that's going to be. Add the third thing onto it, that it is a dollar allotment. If you give beginning teachers an 17 or 18% pay increase, and you have increased retirement, and you have increased hospitalization, that dollar goes less. You can't get as much bang for your buck in those allotments.
Hospitalization for those of us not in finance is insurance.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
So, the big picture is it's a big shell game. I mean, so they give raises one place, and then they take us away in another. So the truth of the matter is, the state is not funding the fair share of our educators' pay. It's just not happening. We looked at our assistant principal and principal allotments. They fund one principal for every school with some caveats to number of students in the school. And then they fund 1 month for...
Our assistant principals are funded for every 98.53 students. You get 1 month of employment for one person. All right, our system has, let's say 10,800 students, has a little bit more than that, but 10,800. That means that we get 109 months of employment, which means less than 10 assistant principals for our entire school system. The only way that we run our schools, all right, is every school needs an assistant principal, regardless if they have 250 students or 500 students. Just the amount of IEP meetings that we have, the amount of evaluations that have to be done. One person, principal is running carpool line, the other assistant principal is running the bus lot, just to have all of those things. So if we went by state allotment, for example, we would have about 9 assistant principals in our entire district. So to tell Topsail High School that you only get 1 assistant principal, all right, Topsail Middle, you get 1, maybe Surf City Middle, Surf City Elementary, since they have close to 1,000, you get each 1. That leaves about 4 to 5 for the entire system at that point. The only way that we're able to fund just just that is our local budget. We purchase around 12 or more out of our local budget in order to run school. And so that's just one example of positions across the board that the state doesn't fund, but they leave it up to the school system and the local county to try and fund. So I thought that was very interesting as we started, looking at that and helping our community understand the importance of our local budget, how this process works, and certainly our state operates in whole numbers, and we're operating in fractions, and then having to round up in order to make a class.
And, Ms. Burns, you mentioned waivers.
Mm-hmm.
So we have used waivers in the past. We try not to use them as much as possible, and here's why.
A waiver because of the number of students? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes,
Classroom?
yeah, and
Yeah,
that
classroom
applies to
size
K
waivers.
through third grade. We try not to as much as we possibly can for a lot of different reasons. One is obviously maintaining a manageable class size in those lower grades so that we can instruct the students the way we need to instruct them. The other problem with that is our growth that we continue to see. So if let's say this particular group right here, we have 7.11 teachers. Well, we might be able to squeeze a couple kids in a couple of classes to make that work. Well, at this point, if we do a waiver for this 135 students, when they get to second grade, we cannot do a waiver for them.
Mm-hmm.
You can only, it's based on
Every other
cohort,
year.
not grade level. So every time we ask for a waiver to be signed by the board and we send it to Raleigh, that cohort becomes unwaiverable, if that makes any sense. We can't use another waiver for that group of kids. So we play that game a lot.
Why?
Why?
They do not.
The public policy explanation as to why you are not allowed to do two waivers in back-to-back years is you cannot have a consistent group of kids who aren't adequately supervised or are considered to be receiving less than what the General Assembly expects is the classroom size for their education. This was one of the big things that have been fought over for, I don't know, a better part of 30 years regarding the size of class. And basically the metrics goes that the smaller the class size, the better education kids are getting. And you can't, from year to year, mistreat one group of kids, basically saying, okay, we're going to allow you to pack 25 to 27 kids, and then the following year do the same thing again. That says, district, you get a waiver one year, but you damn sure better be prepared the next year.
You gotta figure it out.
We maintain sheets for every school for the past 4 years. We've had a running total of grade sizes, grade span sizes for each school. When I was going through, this is current year stuff coming into 26, 27. This is the only only class in my list that actually came out to a perfect round number. That's why I put the slide up here. Everything else is fractions. So it can happen. It's just really rare.
And it's also important to know, like in your classroom allotment, in your biggest state 001 position allotments, people are really surprised by this. Arts, PE, all of these other positions in middle and high school, they don't have separate funding. They have to be paid for out of that one big pot. So we all assume that those are just for instructional classroom teachers, not the fine arts or the PEs or any of that stuff. So you can see where a high school and a middle school will use extra allotments, and then we have two middle schools that are smaller, and those two middle schools that are small schools are taking the same number of teachers and staff to run than one large school. So those are those things that we're kind of fighting against. I came here, and it's like being in the land of milk and honey, because I came from broke districts who didn't have money for arts and music and theater and any of those things. There just wasn't any money. You had to just make by with having a math and reading teacher, right? So, but people don't understand that we're paying for that out of our 001 position. Now, they did, a few years back, decide to give us K through 5 specialty teachers a separate allotment, but we won't tell you that they just moved money from another pot to say that they were giving them this and calling them that. So there are a lot of areas where, to keep our education well-rounded, we are having to hit these other areas, and that is why locals ended up picking up so much more, and that's why local effort matters to keep, as the gentleman said that spoke in public comment, you know, I'm with them as far as my goal is always, and I think superintendent and all cabinet's goal is to always push the envelope and keep bettering our services. And I can say this without a shadow of a doubt. Pender County Schools, their teachers, their staff, they always rise to the occasion. I mean, I think we have an amazing staff. I think we have teachers and principals and stuff that care about kids. But should we always have to lessen what they get? And I think that comes to us having to have that voice. This is complicated. It takes years to learn how to do this, how to play the shell game. And that's why often the public thinks we're doing something funny with the money. It's not us, it's state legislator requiring us to do that. We have so many rules. We used to have increased flexibility where we could move stuff around, and they keep narrowing and narrowing and narrowing that. So it's just, they need to come to the table and support schools.
And we meet with our school teams, our principals and administrators, as well as cabinet, at least 3 times a year to go through budget, including position allotments. Just to kind of forecast the future, we talked about growth with ITRI. We talk about growth a lot. One of our middle schools I've been in communication with today, back and forth, have increased their 8th grade population over the summer by about 25 kids. So when you look at something like that, that's another position that's going to have to be added. And we've already used up our positions with what we have. So it's a fluid thing. As long as we keep growing, we're going to have to keep moving those shells around, as Lisa says.
So when that happens, how do we pay for that person?
So here's how I run it. The state pays for everything first. I send no state dollar back. So we start out on heavy on all state positions until all of the money's gone. There's a lot of wing, prayer, and hope, and a lot of work moving people around. You hope that they give you more money, because sometimes they do. Same thing with federal money. And then ultimately it comes back down to local. So I budget a certain amount of money in local, prepared to pay teachers out of local. This is the first year. Last year was the first year that we had a substantial amount of teachers in local. Prior to that, we've been able to, we would have, like, you'll have lap salaries too. So if you have vacancies, then those are kind of months you can put in your bank and then move people into state. We're doing so well at Pender County Schools that we didn't have a lot of vacancies last year. People want to be here, they're working, and the numbers show it. So then that's why we ended up with having to put more teachers into local. So that's the kind of hierarchy. Spend state first, then federal, and then local.
I'll just say we're an open book, and Lisa is phenomenal at her job. If people want to know how we allocate positions, this is just the tip of the iceberg, really. I mean, it's a lot more complicated than what we went through, but this at least gives you an idea of I hate to use the word shell game because it sounds sneaky, but that's about the best way to say it. It's just a matter of, we have X number of positions that we know we need for these students in the schools. We do our best to find the money to fit them, and we move forward every year. So.
And the one thing that we have done better since I've been here, and not on my part, but we've done better at, you all know that there's a time when you hire and a time when you don't. If you don't get them early on, sometimes there's a reason why that teacher doesn't have a job, right? So we've done better by fronting a few positions and getting quality people that stay and then figuring it out on the back end. So that is why we front load some extra up front. I am very cautious with that, and we really watch our spending on other things. And we have, little pockets of money we set aside that we don't touch until we get all of the state money in. But timing is everything. If we wait until September or October to go out to try to find teachers, you're not usually going to get the best options. Not saying that that's all the time, but it's something we've worked really hard on.
Guys, we hope that helped to explain sort of the tip of the iceberg process for you guys and for our public. So happy to take any questions, or we can move on.
I'm sorry, somebody else?
Go ahead.
Ms. Nowlin, just quickly, I know you told us our last meeting, what sort of cut we should expect to Title I, but I don't remember.
Leanne said that there was approximately an 8% cut this year to Title I.
And how does that affect us?
Well, what the team has done is reduce central level expenses. If there were central level positions that weren't filled, we're not hiring them. We are cutting back in that area, and we did not affect the school allotments. So as Title I comes in, it's a big pot of money, and then you allocate from central office level, and then you come up with a calculation for each school based on poverty bands. So if you don't have that high amount in the central office, not I won't say central office, but the central level, the district level, then you can put more into the school levels, and that's what they've done. She has gone school by school and informed them of their allotments, done the calculations with the new raises, which drastically impacted them. So she's been able to keep them close to where they had last year in allocations. But we all know that the big cut is slated for next year for federal programs. And I think Title I is the first one on the chopping block. So she's already prepared them.
Kevin, how many schools do we have that qualify for that?
That was my next question. Yeah.
Our west side schools, our east sides do not.
None of the east side do at all? Okay.
Our two high schools on the west side do not. They're not Title I schools.
Right.
Every other school on the west side does qualify.
Okay, well, I know that I knew that question was going to have a complicated answer, but I had to hear it. And actually, you guys explained it rather well. Thank you. I had this idea. It's like, we signed all those classroom waivers. I wonder if there's any way that we could, now that we've got a little more room, but it's actually more tied to ADM than it is to the space in your building, and I get that. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
You need to come to Raleigh with us. Yeah, don't you think?
No doubt, we need to make a trip to Raleigh and soon,
And bring Miss Nowlin with us.
and absolutely take her with us.
You have to never mind, I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna say dumb it down for some of them up there, because I don't think they understand. I know they don't. But yeah.
It is very complicated.
It's complicated, but still, I mean, they should understand. And now they're trying to cut income tax for the state of North Carolina, which makes no damn sense, or no sense, excuse me. Because we met with a couple of them up there last year. It was really frustrating because they don't understand.
Okay, and I think that was.
All right. 11.5 is budget amendments. Anyone have any questions for any of those? Mm-hmm. 11.6 is policy review. Same with 11.7. Everybody good with those? 11.8, PILA day treatment MOU. Everybody good there? 11.9, contracted services for exceptional children. And last item on the consent agenda is 11.10, which is our board meeting calendar. And it, as people may have noticed, this is the first Tuesday of the month instead of the second. Is that what we have decided that we're going to do for this year? Does anyone have any questions or comments on it before we vote? Or for more discussion, we can always pull that item if need be.
I'm good with the change.
All right, good. All right, then do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, Ms. Burns has made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And none opposed, so that is unanimous. All right, under action agenda 12.1, this is an MOU with Cape Fear Community College. Dr. Sawyer.
Good evening, Board. So we're asking approval for our College Accelerated Program MOU, which is a partnership between Pender County Schools and CFCC, where students that are in a normal, traditional high school, not Pender Early College, can actually get their high school diploma and associate's degree in this program. They enter the program in 9th grade, and then they continue on through 12th grade. The fiscal implications, I can't even say that today, is a percentage of the salary for the liaison position. Currently, we're sitting at a 20% where Pender County Schools pays for the liaison.
But this person is technically a Cape Fear employee.
It's a Cape Fear employee that we pay 20% for, and CFCC pays 80% for that person. And they work within our buildings. When they're not here, they're at CFCC, essentially.
But that one person serves all three of our high schools?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You said, what was the percentage again? I missed that last part.
What was that?
80-20.
It's an 80-20 split. Yep.
Is that figure negotiable by any chance?
I
They
have a
are
meeting-
CFCC employees, so.
So I have partnership meetings with them every Friday, once a month on a Friday. And it's this Friday. So if it's the will of the board, I can surely go and ask for a negotiation on something less.
I don't want to hold up the contract, but I mean, it's got to be spelled out.
I was like, what are we looking at, like dollars?
Yeah,
Like,
and
'cause you
when-
can tell me 80-20, but I don't know what 80-20 is of what number.
I want to say it's like $4,000 a month.
No.
Around $4,000 a month that we pay for the CFCC employee
Okay, so
on our
80, 20,
campuses.
4,000, 48,000.
Yeah.
And when is the MOU, when does that expire?
So the MOU goes from July 1, I just had that on here. I think it's July 1 to June 30 or something like that.
We're late then.
Yeah.
Yes, it'd be in effect from July 1 of, until July 1 of 2027.
But it was already from, what did you?
We
from-
already have students in the program that have already started within the program because we've been having continual meetings. So if we had another meeting and this would come up in September, I don't think it would be an issue or a concern for CFCC.
I wonder,
Because we have multiple partnerships with them, right? We've got our regular students in dual enrollment, we've got PECs.
Right.
So I don't think it would be an
I
issue.
wonder if they do this same program for other, like, for New Hanover.
They do,
Wonder if their percentage is the same.
you know?
I don't know off the top of my head. One thing to also consider is our kids aren't in school yet.
Right.
Our traditional high school aren't in school yet.
Right.
So we could always bring it back to the COW meeting for an action if we needed to after meeting with them on Friday.
No, we're not trying to make a problem when we just, I mean, it's a CFCC employee that we're paying 20% of.
Yes, sir.
Is it a 10-month employee, 12-month?
I believe he's a 12-month employee. And then in the off time, so like when we're closed, he has an office at CFCC, so he works at CFCC if he's not working, with our students when we don't have students in the building.
That's probably where they're coming up with their 20% from.
Right.
I mean, and there's no, you probably answered this already, but tuition-wise for Cape Fear, either we're paying it or there is none, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
right?
this program is kind of like within the dual enrollment program. It's kind of embedded the same way, so there isn't any additional tuition or fees that go along with it.
Did you say our part's 4,000 a month?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think it's a little over 4,000 a month.
So 48,
Let me get, if you, I'll get back with you on that.
that'd be $48,000 for 20% of it then.
Right, that person's making.
How much is
That's a
that
lot of-
person making?
I don't understand. We look at this
$4,000.
again.
You know, we're sharing the cost of,
Yeah.
Because I think they bill us every quarter.
Yes, it is every.
We're paying 20%, that's just our 20.
It's our 20, and then there's 80%?
More
they're
getting
making,
paid.
right.
Yeah.
That's,
Board, that's,
Yeah, no, I think it's
they have a clarification for you.
4,000 a
oh,
quarter.
every quarter.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little different.
I just see the invoices when they come
Okay.
in and I forward it to finance.
Yeah, I was sitting there doing
Okay.
the math in my head.
I
was
know,
like,
right? I want that job.
A lot of money.
Yeah. No.
That's a little more, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
it.
3 times a year. They bill us every
Yeah, what's going on? Sound right.
every quarter at the end of every
Yeah, because I
quarter.
kept doing it.
Y'all want to think about it and let's do it at a committee meeting?
If we're talking $4,000 a quarter, I'm okay with it, but I'd be willing to make a motion right now, but I won't, if you guys want to discuss it,
I'm better with
please.
that than what we were
4,000 a
looking at.
month.
Sorry.
If the board is good, we can try and negotiate down a 90-10 or something like that with them. I think that would be,
Sure.
Well, it is a Cape Fear employee, that's the,
And it's happening Friday, right?
It's Friday.
So it ain't like from Tuesday to Friday, the world's gonna change upside down, so.
We can make a special call meeting
Yes,
if we
ma'am.
have
Exactly
to,
right.
because the only thing that bothers me is that this MOU is already
Expired.
kind of, it's, yeah, the time
We-
has
We're
passed
knocking
on
on
it.
time, so we got some time left over, but like I said,
Right.
we're only waiting until Friday.
Yeah.
Exactly. I
I
think we'll
think we,
take them back to the table.
yeah.
Yep. And I can surely let you know how everything goes on Friday and go from there.
Okay.
okay.
is there any way that we could pass it as like, where it could still be negotiated after the fact? I guess you have to have solid numbers, right? That, well,
I mean, I think it would be,
In her best
I would think you would prefer to wait until you have a solid
Okay.
number.
good. Yeah, I mean, typically, yes, just think about time and, I mean, she can make a deal with these people that,
I like making deals.
or whoever.
No problem. I will get back with you guys probably Monday.
Okay.
Because I think
Well,
the meeting's not till like 2:30.
Should we go ahead and do a Wednesday, or you gotta have 48-hour notice for, I guess, this, and if there's any HR items that pop up between now and then, but strictly by phone, not in person, so they don't have to prepare all this for a literal 3-minute phone call.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, everybody good with that?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, 12.2, child nutrition request to sell. Is that, Ms. Nowlin?
Good evening again. So I bring before you a list of items for child nutrition that we are asking for permission to sell, and we will put these on GovDeals. These are either things we no longer use, or they're damaged, or just, you all know we're cleaning up. We're cleaning our space. So we want to sell any items that we're not using so that we can then put the money back towards the child nutrition program. So requesting permission to sell these items. Any questions?
Good.
Question.
Good to go.
Thank you.
All right, can we have a motion for 12.2?
I make a motion for 12.2 child nutrition request to sale.
Mr. Spivey has made a motion. Do we have a second? Ms. Hanson has seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And that is unanimous. 12.3, Dr. Grimm for J.H. Lee change orders.
That's great.
Hello again. I'm just here to ask if you would approve the change orders as recommended.
They are in our packet. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Not, can we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the J.H. Lee change orders.
All right, Ms. Burns has made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Spivey has seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And that is unanimous. And you also have 12.4 and 5 and 6 and several more. So.
Yes, sir. So 12.4 is asking approval for the MVP Pay App number 11 for approval.
All right, anyone like to make a motion for that?
Make a motion to approve.
Ms. Hanson has made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Reeves has seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And that is unanimous.
All right.
Next item.
Next one is the Pay App for Bordeaux, number 25, asking for approval for their Pay App.
All right, any questions? If not, can we have a motion?
I make the motion 12.5 Berto K8 app number 25.
All right, Mr. Spivey has made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. 12.6, request for HES CPI increase of 3.5%.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Cornett wanted to be here tonight. He apologized, and but due to the change in the date of the board meeting, he just couldn't be here tonight. But he's just asking for that CPI increase. So as you, I think you're aware, they're trying to just be competitive in hiring custodial staff, and it's a challenge, especially on that east side of the district. So just bring that before you tonight and ask for an approval.
And I think, is there a differential in the salaries between the east and the west side?
Yes.
We've talked about that.
I'm about to say, 'cause
We did.
we've talked
That's where I
about
have a
that.
problem.
So, wow.
I think that everybody's salary should be the same if they work for.
What I don't understand is if you push a mop or a broom on the west side, how you make less than the same person that pushes the same broom, the same mop, the same type of floor on the east side. I can't make that make sense. So, I'm not going for this.
I can't do it either.
No, if you can't pay them the same,
can't do
and I
it.
don't want to hear, well, it's because of driving time or it's more convenient. I'm not buying that. You ask somebody to do a job, it's the same type of job, it's just a different building. Pay the man or woman the same amount of money to do the same job. I don't want to hear this side of the county and this side of the county. I'm tired of hearing that. Pay the people the money.
I think he would have to come back and ask for additional.
Well, then we're going to have to get some
Salary.
more information and conversate with him about it.
I mean, they brought us the numbers, remember, of what it was gonna take.
And I understand that, but we're still here again.
All right, would someone like to make a motion for approval on this item? Then this item dies for lack of a motion. Next item, please.
Okay, thank you
That's
very
it for
much.
you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, comments from board members. I have none, so we'll go to Mr. Spivey. You have any?
I have none.
Mr. Reeves?
Oh, okay. I'm excited about the upcoming school year. Airmark, again, my goodness, what great food again, and you prepared for us. Thank you. I really appreciate the fact that Mr. Batson and his team didn't just give up on the generator project. He could have just said, oh, well, they don't have the transfer switch, and, you know, he made it happen. And that's what everybody does in this county. That's what all this staff does. They make it happen somehow. The disappointing part to me is it's like they said, the money that we're going to get next year, we're probably going to have to cut like substitute teaching, probably. Now you're asking teachers who already come in sick to even come in and work even sicker.
Amen.
And that just bothers me. And we need to go to Raleigh and talk to these legislators. They don't, and we have been, they don't understand. We sat there with Brent Jackson, and he did not understand anything, or he doesn't care. And that's what really bothers me. So I'm sorry, teachers, that, we got the best teachers ever. I go into a lot of these schools, and I just hate the thought to think that next year they're going to have to even work they come in sick now, they're going to have to even work even sicker. And that really is disappointing. But I'm excited about the upcoming year. Football season at Topsail and Pender, and I'm going to go to some of the games in Heidi Trask, and that's exciting. So thank you. And Mr. Airmark, I want to ask you something before you leave.
All right, Ms. Burns.
Okay, well, it's good to be back after a month break, and I just wanted to say that I totally agree with you there, Mr. Reeves. I believe that it is time for us to go back to Raleigh. I think it's, I totally agree. I think we need to take Miss Nowlin with us because she does have a talent for explaining the complicated and making it reasonable. But I would also suggest possibly that we take a couple of teachers with us. Let's look at our teacher of the year, or maybe some of our more experienced teachers, and take them with us also, because this is something that goes, comes straight out of the classroom. And even though we're trying very hard to make sure that the classroom does not feel any of these cuts that are being made, it's going to reach a point where I'm afraid something will have to reach the classroom. And I think what better representatives to go up there and speak about the actual kids that they're teaching than some of our teachers. So that's a suggestion, but I would suggest that we make it sooner rather than later.
You can do it soon.
Very soon. And I'm ready for that whenever you guys are. So let's get something going. But I too am looking forward to the beginning of school. I know that there's a lot of teachers out there that are getting excited, getting prepped up. So it's a good thing. So anyway, thank you everyone for what you do for us. We're appreciative of it. And that's it.
You have any?
Well, I'm 100% behind us going to Raleigh too, and hopefully another option might be to actually, when they're out of session, they're at home, maybe we could bring them into a classroom. They could actually see what happens and what happens when you cut things and how it affects a real classroom, right? I'm looking forward to the new school year, and I'm planning on being at Convocation. I hope everybody else is planning on being there. That's a great time, and I'm hoping, it really brings the power of the new school year and seeing all those faces and all the excitement that goes along with that. But I want to say I'm looking forward to new school year as well, and I'm going to be out there testing pizza, Airmark, just so you know. And I want to welcome Mr. Mortensen to District 1 at Bergall Middle School. I did go to his little reception for his staff, and looking forward to working with him in my district. So, and there's lots of interesting things going on at Pender High School, not just the bathrooms. I happened to be out there the other day, and they were working on the design build for the new kitchen, so those kids can have culinary art classes. And the auditorium is getting an update, and the library has new LVP in the. I'm sorry, the library has new LVP. The all carpet is gone.
Nice.
So that's it for me.
All right.
I got.
Miss-
Can I say one more?
Yes, sir.
The gentleman, Mr. K, I cannot pronounce your name, but thank you for a common sense solution, and that's what we need in this county. Common sense. You know, he came all the way from Topsail Beach to all the way here to talk about the sales tax, and that's what we need. So I hope those county commissioners are listening. Thank you.
Mr. McPherson.
I wanted to point out a couple of things. The first of which is there is a Blue Ribbon Commission for Public Education that is had its first meeting of this bipartisan coalition took place yesterday. So the first focus of this Blue Ribbon Commission that met virtually was to discuss teacher training and student advancement, with a focus on early literacy, strengthening the teacher pipeline, and modernizing accountability for continuous improvement. I am glad that we're looking at all those things. I will say that I will look to see what legislation comes out of this Blue Ribbon Commission. This is a bipartisan effort. So the other thing is a reminder that the adjournment resolution from the General Assembly basically puts them out of session except for very exclusive dates. So they are planning to be in session for August 31st, September 28th, October 26th, November 16, and November 30. Those are all Mondays, but those are very skeletal sessions to address minor issues. It is an election year. I do not expect them to be actually doing much except for dealing with emergencies. What North Carolina weather has taught the General Assembly is if they don't prepare for potential hurricanes and issues by having these skeletal sessions planned, that they will find themselves on the back foot. So, for lack of a better word, that's essentially the plan. But all based on what my understanding, they're basically done for the year. They'll do sine die on December 18th. So, with that, those are my comments, Mr. Chair.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
And if I'm not mistaken, we have an employee who is on that Blue Ribbon Commission, don't we? Lisa Brown?
Lisa Godwin.
Oh, Lisa Godwin, yeah.
Lisa Godwin, yes. And she presented some of our beginning Teacher of the Year stuff to that commission as well.
Call out even though I got the name wrong.
Anything else? Good. Dr. Breedlove, do you have anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Mr. Reeves made the motion, Ms. Burns seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. That is, of course, unanimous.